Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aliens and earthlings, welcome to the quick Café session on the Domino API Access, the artist also known as Project Keep. I prepared about 600 slides for you, and then I decided I will show you exactly one of them. And this is the slide I want to show. What is the Project Keep? It's a REST access for Domino with a lot of thought in there. So we started with an open API specification, which is an open standard. We use JWT for authentication, which is an open standard, and things that go in and out is JSON, which is an open standard. To get you started, we enabled Project Keep by you can just throw a jar file on your Nodes client and use it from the Nodes client to get started. Of course, to go production, you would go and have it on the Domino server. We tested it so far for both Windows and as well as Linux in containers. The first thing I want to show you is a small video. I have to show a video because my main machine is a Mac, and what I want to show you works on Windows. And to that, I need to stop the presenting and then go and have a look at WebEx QuickTime Player. What you see here is what the business users dream. I use the standard tool Excel. In Excel for Windows, I have the ability other data sources. I pick OData. OData is an open standard, the love child between SAP and Microsoft, and the mistress Salesforce and a few others. And I pointed to a Domino database using an alias that you have specified in Keep. I get to that later on. And immediately it will go and say, figure out what data is available. This is our to-do application. And I said load, and the data appears in Excel. This is not an export. This is a data load. So when I go to my API, you see here Postman, I go and create a sample. Let's type in that it's for Excel. And I send it off. Let's fix the priority. Send it off, and then I refresh the data. So that's in the query menu, refresh, and then you will see that the data actually updates into Excel. We are in the process of doing the same thing, so you can actually update data directly in Excel. That's work in progress. It doesn't stop there. You've seen it was a to-do application. I switched to my Salesforce instance. Just to show you a little bit, I have data there that came from here, Fun with Domino, and you see color, form, shape, taste, all these fields that are originally fields in a Notes document being available as an external object in Salesforce. So you can surface your Notes data using Project Keep in your Salesforce instance, in your analytics tool, in your business BI, in Excel, as you deem fit. So how does that whole thing work? So we used a project called Vertex from the Eclipse Foundation that provides us with all the Java framework that we need, and based on that we built the Project Keep. This is a UI you will see when you launch it on that, and I can go in there and say, okay, I see all the API endpoints. This is an open API UI specification, and it actually allows you not just go and look at it and click open and look at but you actually can try it out. But of course, when you look at modern developers, the retro is in, so no application is complete without a command line. So let's switch to the command line and see what we can do. So I'm going to go and say, okay, I log into Keep. And what it sends over is a JWT token. And I'm going to use that JWT token in all the subsequent calls to the Keep backend. And I say, okay, Keep, get me the databases. So we'll see it will go a little bit, well, a lot of data. If you're very smart, you will immediately recognize that all this text stuff is nothing else than a base64 encoded SVG image. But of course, we want to go and have this a little bit more readable. So I'm using a little tool that's available on the Mac, on Linux. I'm not sure about Windows, probably as well. It's called JQ, which then allows me to filter JSON data, because everything is JSON. And then I see, okay, I have a bunch of databases on the system, and I filtered out the ones that are active. We decided that we do not let you access by specifying an NSF, but you can access the data using an alias. That has two advantages. The first one is if you move databases around internally, your API doesn't break as long as your alias points to the right direction internally. And the second is when you activate keep, it doesn't open up all the databases to access, only the ones you specifically have configured. With the configuration, we get to that in a second. Now I said, okay, I want to know a little bit more about my, for instance, my demo database. So I am going to go and send another command to the environment where I said, get me the design. And it says, okay, there is sample form, there's customers, there's marketing. And I said, okay, I really, really would like to see the list of my customers. So I can say, of course, we called it lists. Because, like say, we realized that if you're not a Nodes developer, if you come from a different background, and you said, okay, this Domino thing with which is called the mother of all NoSQL databases, how do I get data out? There, the term list is much more understandable than views and folders. But under the hood, it's a view or a folder. I send it off, and it takes a moment. And this was about below 2 seconds, and it just pulled out 2,000 elements for me. And if you look very carefully, there's a few nice little things in there. So we have all elements with an at in front are attributes, and there we even generate an e tag, so you can use that to check has an element changed or not, which is a thing that when you develop applications comes in quite handy. What we see here right now is I said, okay, I just use a command line. And let me show you how the command line looks like, actually. That is a very complicated program. It's just a curl command. So one of the things what you can do with the Keep API, you can say, okay, I can use a React.js application or Angular or a curl command or directly a web library and access the Domino server directly. Of course, in typical REST APIs, you would say, whoa, 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 whoa. We had this in Domino, but it opened up everything to write. So I could go and override whatever I want to override as long as I have write access to the document. But we all know, like say, if you're an approver of a document, you should not go and override, like say, the type of request, only the approval field. So we took care of that. We're going to show that to you in a second. I showed you a lot of GET requests. I also would like to show you a POST request. And that means that then I'm going to go and create a document. Let me just show you how it will look like. So I take the sample form, I give it a pentagram, black and nice, just to show you, make it very, very clear. We don't have that in the database yet. I'll make sure I refresh. There is no pentagram. And then I'm going to go and say, let me create that element for you. Okay. So that's a keep post. So I send this off. I get the confirmation back, including the UNID. It has been created and the fields. And then when I go back into my database and said, okay, refresh that, and there is my pentagram black and nice. So it's not just to query, it's also to update data. And I said, okay, wait a second. I've seen there is an expense application on there, no? Actually from the Nifty 50. So let me go and dig into the expense application a little bit. So I go in there and see, like say, all the fields, and then I could be trying to be really, really smart and post the approver together with my request. But let's say, let me show you that quickly. Looks like this, and I'm going to go and try to post it to my expense application. It looks like this. Yep. And it says, hey, this data is invalid. You cannot submit anything with an approver name. Since we're short of time, let me show you a few other things. Besides having the complete API definition, we have an administrative GUI. And one of the things besides the wonderful door to my hometown's castle, what the administrative UI allows you is to configure a database. So I can go there and say, okay, this is active. This is available for open access. So people can go and use curl and web applications. So I close it, then you need an application server. But I can switch on and off the DQL access. I can say I allow you to run agents and code. So I can very, very nicely specify. Furthermore, I go in there and configure a C. There are 4 forms in the database. Only 2 of them I can access. I can't access the customer or the from Salesforce form. I go in there, see all my fields, like say color, form, shape. I said, if I'm in the default mode, then I can see all these fields and I can also update all these fields. When I'm in the approver mode, I only can read the fields and the form, and I cannot update any field. Okay. Maybe it's a good idea if I allow access to both, so the approver can now go and update the taste field. So is that, and then I have a formula that specifies, based on the document and the current user, whether this mode approver is relevant to that user, and that's how we ensure that you don't access what you're not supposed to access. So we specify very, very carefully down to the field level, something we don't do in a classic REST or API, but Keep does that. So the business logic is saved on the side of Keep. I could probably go on 2 or 3 more hours. Just the final one. Why Open API? You might know this, like say, this is Postman, and then I can go and say, okay, let me go and straight away import the definition that I have from the web. So I said continue, and it says there is Domino Keep API, and so I import, and straight away what it does for me in my tool, I can then see all the API endpoints, like authentication, get a JWT session. It tells me what's the URL. It tells me how the body would look like, and I can straight away interact with that one. And that's the power of open standards. That's the power of Keep. If you have more interest, we have recordings of the sessions later on, or see us in the cafe, and I'm happy to answer questions. Make sure, go to the next session, the EWS implementation, which sits on top of Keep, that allows you interacting with Outlook and Apple Mail with Domino backend. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.